which is in China. Yeah, exactly the same. But the one at University of at the CBU has produced engineers who have done nothing. But those at Chongqing, the Chinese, produce engineers using the curriculum which I developed. Exactly the same curriculum. Exactly the same curriculum. And they are producing all sorts of stuff. The automotive, if you look at the industry, they've produced all those engineers who graduated from Chongqing University in China. It's amazing. They are running, they are creating new what you call transformative technologies. And many of the electric vehicles research is actually carried out at Chongqing University in China.
So then, if the same curriculum given to Zambia first, it was given to Zambia first?
That's correct.
And the same one given to Chongqing, and the engineers that are being produced this side are doing amazing things. What is the gap between a graduate produced in Zambia and a gap produced in other countries, like where you've taught in the UK, in China? What is the gap between a graduate produced here and that side?
Yeah, I think that one, to answer that question, you have to look at how we classify our degree in terms of an international acceptance.
Yes.
Our degrees here in Zambia, at University of Zambia, for example, and other universities here, we are offering what we call ordinary degrees. These are not degrees. These are not degrees. This is in the context of looking at it in terms of the Western countries. You find that when you fail your honors degree, then you are actually awarded an ordinary degree. So, in other words, it's an inferior degree to what you can get in terms of overseas. So this is why I changed it at CBU.
Yes.
And this is why I made sure that we become on par with the Oxford, the Cambridge, and everybody else who was offering honors degree. And today, as I'm saying, I've started seeing the result of those engineers from CBU now entering the management level. For example, we've got the recently appointed ZESCO chief engineer, was one of the first on those degrees which I did at CBU.
Wonderful.
So he has moved quite a lot from that particular sense. So when you have that particular area of expertise, you actually give the students so they can understand. And the key in those curriculum is implementation, is to drive so that engineers are not looking for jobs, engineers are creating jobs. That is the main key.
And that's what I wanted to find out. If, like you've said, because what you have noticed is that the engineers produced from using the same curriculum the other side, they're actually creating jobs, and here we're not really creating, we're basically maybe looking for jobs and not creating as much. What is the biggest problem? Is it the Zambian mentality? What is the biggest problem?
I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you that the biggest problem perhaps which we have as Zambians is that we do not take things seriously. Yeah. Because in any society where you have a certain particular acumen of doing things, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you take them to the end. And the end is the solution. Engineering solutions are all about building things, are all about making things happen, are all about making so that the country develops. Remember that only engineers are the primary generators of income in any nation. Engineers are the people who create wealth. And that wealth creation is passed on from them to others like doctors, economists. All these others are actually what we call recyclers. They recycle the income which has been created by engineers. So
how is that so?
That is exactly the same, because everything which we do, even when I'm talking to you, all these are engineering equipment. Without them, you wouldn't have actually been talking about it. So you look at exactly everything on earth, you find that engineers are the creators of primary income in any nation. Then after that, then it's actually distributed among economists, doctors, lawyers, everybody else. And then people talk of the market. I mean, the market is also driven by engineers' excellence. So we need to give more clout to engineers in this country and give them a way so they can actually develop. We've got a lot of areas where we can cover ourselves.
Do you think the environment in Zambia is suitable for engineers to thrive and be able to create?
Yes, I mean, this is what you call Zambia, for example, has got enormous amount of opportunities. For example, we are sitting here, we are having a meeting, I'm doing an interview, and out there, just around here, there's nobody who's doing anything. What has surprised me, for example, simple things like collecting trash. I mean, we've got a lot of rubbish wherever you go in Zambia. These are simple problems which can be done. And engineers are not given that opportunity to do it. But foreigners are coming in and they're doing everything. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
In your opinion, what is the single biggest reason Zambia has failed to industrialize, despite decades of independence and a pool of educational professionals like you?
Yes, that is a very, very, very good question, and I'll tell you in depth about it. After independence, we were given room to create what we call our constitution. So our constitution, which we created, which we are using today, is based only on political arena and some other little economic areas. What the British did when they left, they made sure that they gave us what you call the political right, but they didn't give us the economic right. The economic right was reserved for them, and I'll tell you how. When we got independence, we were supposed actually to create our technological background ourselves rather than waiting until the United Kingdom Prime Minister actually tells us what to do. So what they did is to maintain the neocolonialism, yes? To maintain you into a certain particular area where you're not going to develop. Because as I told you earlier on, engineering science are the primary generator of income. So what happens was, all the knowledge about creating wealth for ourselves was actually done in London. Up to today, it's being done in London through a group which is called the Government Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister. If you look at the advisor to the president in Zambia, 6 years later, there is nobody there who's actually advising the president directly on how to create wealth. So I'm calling, actually, this is a call now I'm making, I'm calling this government or anybody else who is writing the constitution to add this particular constitution office at the president, at the State House. And that is what we call GEGA, which is the Government Engineering and Government Engineer General Advisor to the President. Now, who is the Government Engineer General Advisor? Who is he? This is the person who brings direct information about the technologies which are being held to the president directly. And that person must be there. If you look at any countries, for example, you're looking at United Kingdom, they've got what you call the Government Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister. And that is the person up to date who's advising how we should develop in Zambia up to today. Because we don't have that position. Now, how has this worked in other countries, for example? We've got China, for example. Perhaps let me begin with China.
Yes, please.
China 30 years ago had nothing. It was an agrarian region, extremely poor, but in 30 years it has picked itself from poverty to riches. Why? Because of the scientific and the engineering constitution office, which has actually driven their technological advancement. Within doing that, they've lifted over to perhaps close to 100 million, even if not more, of people who are out with poverty to riches.
Professor, I'm still on the GEGA office that you mentioned.
Yes.
Do you think Zambia is at a level where we're now looking at wealth creation when we have like a lot of basic issues to sort out? to do with electricity, alleviating poverty, creating basic employment.
Yeah, and that's where the Gega office comes in. That's why this constitution office comes in. If you look at all the advisors, just go on the website of what you call State House. Look at the people who are advising the government. Nobody there who's advising the president is actually an income creator. Nobody.
Nobody's creating income.
Nobody's creating income for Zambia. Everybody who's there is actually recycling. And that's not the way to go. 60 years after independence, you need this particular person. The GEGA, which is the Government Engineer General Office, must be created at the State House to advise the president. That's what we are going to do now to develop. We are going to reduce poverty, extremely reduce poverty. We are going to increase the industrialization system, which we need to have, so that everybody can work together and make sure that we develop at our own pace. But at the moment, we are developing at the pace of foreigners. And that is not the way to move. 6 years after independence, look at others. India, for example, look at it. Look at Singapore. By the way, I participated in the design of the rail line from Singapore airport into the city. So I know Singapore pretty well. Yeah, I did a lot of work in that area. And look at it. It came from extreme poverty. And in fact, if you remember in 1964, Singapore was nothing. It was, they were envying Zambia for the riches which we have, because it has got no resources. And what it did, it utilizes other people's resources, bring them into the country, add value, and then from there send it away. So we need now the GEGA office to come and develop and see that we add value to everything which we have in our natural resources.
Professor, something that you've said that has really caught my attention is that when you look at the president's advisors right now, nobody's creating wealth for the country. All of them are recycling. Would you be open if, say, President Hakainde Hichilema needed you to come and work with him in that capacity?
I'm open. If I can do it for other countries in the world, and I've done it for many countries in the world, I've advised them in terms of industrialization, and the last one was Ghana. So these are the things which I can do for my own country. I'll be willing to give them information and guide them exactly how we're going to do it, and then we can appoint a young man to actually do the job. Because Wonderful. I've done it before. So.
Wonderful. I want us to talk about your tenure at Zambia Railways. Obviously, it was going to come up, Professor. The government injected about $120 million US, maybe $22 million into the Zambia Railways, part of the Euroboard funds. I wanted to know, how was this money used under your leadership?
Yes. In 2012, I was actually doing some work in Japan at that particular time, and then I received a call from the president then.
The president himself, or the State House?
The president himself, Sata. Yeah. I was in the night. I received the call, and he said, we want to revive the railway system. Then I said, that's good. So he said, can you be willing to come to Zambia, to come and help us? I said, yes, I will. And what I did was I took a 5-year industrial sabbatical from university to start now preparing to design and implement the railway system in Zambia. Of course, after that, I came, and that's the end of 2012, 2013. I came to Zambia on an industrial sabbatical for 5 years, because after that, I was supposed to pass on to the young engineers in Zambia whom I've actually groomed in order for them to continue now the progress of Zambia Railways, and me to return to my university back in the UK. Yes, we were given $120 million as seedling money, and that came from the Eurobond. Everybody knows that. And all that was mismanaged. Yes. What happened was, before we could even use the money was being diverted all sorts of areas by greedy people. I don't want to call them names, I don't want to do what, but by greedy people. These are the people who actually destroyed Zambia Railways. They were taking money from the accounts, sending them to all these places, and when I complained, they sacked me. Okay, they sacked me because I complained.
I want to understand. The president himself calls you from China.
Yes.
And tells you, sit here and make this happen for us, for the country. Which greedy people are you going to mention to me as a person who doesn't know much about this story, who are more powerful than you, the CEO of Zambia Railways, and the president who called you?
Yeah. The greedy people are in between there. All those people at the top, from myself going all the way up to the president of Zambia at that particular time, all those are greedy people. But I won't go in details of exactly telling you.
Yes. I'm also not asking for names. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yes.
From the CEO of Zambia Railways and the president.
There was a chairman.
There's a chairman.
Exactly. There's a chairman, a vice chairman, all the board were there, and so on. So,
but if things are happening here, the president doesn't have the information that you are being
victimized.
Yes, you're being victimized.
Yes, he had the information, but if you remember, he wasn't feeling well at that particular time. He was ill. The president Sata was ill in those particular end times, and this is why perhaps they got away with it. Otherwise, it would have been. I know. I mean, there was the foreign, what you call, the finance minister. By that time, it was actually Chikwanda. He was trying to tell me to send money to other banks from the bank. We are the Zanako Bank, and I was not a signatory to any accounts within Zambia Railways. The signatories were the chief accountant and the director for finance.
So finance minister at the time, Chikwanda was telling you to send money that was meant for something else, and then you were asking you to send money to other things.
Yes, that's what it was, because the money which was created for development, in order to do that money was being transferred to other accounts. And that's when we got separated from reality.
What are some of the things you meant to do with that money? Because you said that you once said that Zambia Railways could transform the economy if modernized. I want specifics of the things you planned to do.
Yes.
And specifics of how you were blocked.
Yeah. When we started looking at how we can revamp the railway system, I went away and I came, first of all, I took all the mapping, I took all the measurements of this, and went away and redesigned the railway system and redesigned the locomotives and wagons which were there at that particular time in Zambia Railways. But the Zambia Railways had no capacity at that particular time to do anything. So what happened was, they requested 420 million, which was very small for the project we wanted to do. The project,
how much did you? How much?
The one which I budgeted at the end of the day was $1.3 billion.
$1.3 billion.
Yeah, to make sure, yes, at that particular time, to make sure that we've got a rail system which is using electric vehicles to run on two-line rail for the people of Zambia. Yeah. So from there, we got that money. But it wasn't enough. In those particular circumstances, then we asked a government institution, actually from China, to come and help us so that we can actually develop and build the railway system at that particular time. Yeah. But they came in, but before we could even start, my director of finance was already telling me who was a signatory to the account, because I was not. No, I was not a signatory to any account at Zambia Railways. So he was a signatory to those accounts. Came to tell me and say, "Listen to me, Professor. These people are trying to send money to, I think it's an African bank or Matani's bank, somewhere there, from Zanako, where we had an account." And then from there, things just went astray. When I started asking questions, and these people, in fact, the president himself, came to me. He was influenced by somebody else. Came to me and said, "No, no, no. We cannot accept that you are now telling us what you need to do instead of us telling you what you need to do." Then I said, "What did you bring me here for if you want to tell me what you need to do?"
The president came to tell you that?
Yes, yes, sir.
After you started asking questions about why they want to send money out of the banks?
That's correct, yes. And I confronted.
Yeah, when you explained to the president that the money is trying to be taken away, what did he say?
Yeah, when I explained to the president, he said, "Oh, no, I need to find out from the Minister of Finance. Why is this money being moved from Zanaco to I've forgotten that bank. It was Matani was the one of that bank. Yes, African
Development Bank.
No, not African Development. I've forgotten the name again. Yeah. So then that's why we crossed now. We crossed on that, and I was not happy that we need to start rehabilitation at that particular time, and the money was being diverted. So what's the point of doing that? And up to today, I want to know where that $120 million has gone to. I don't know, but I want to know.
You didn't even use any part of that money?
No, we didn't use any part of that money. We just wanted to start using any part of that money. So up to today, me personally, I want to know where that money, $120 million, has gone to.
I would like to also ask questions and maybe probably ask the investigative wings to find out where that money went.
Exactly.
When people were trying to move these monies to, did you come across anybody enticing you with any bribes or asking you to cut corners?
No.
To be part of the money of the.
No, when they brought me, they thought perhaps I'll be part of that, but they did not realize that I'm not a government employee, and I'm an academic who is self-sufficient. I do not need any money from anybody, and they started claiming different things. Yes, so it's.
What are some of the things that were claimed?
Some of the things that were claimed is because I stayed at where they put me themselves. The government put me at Fosway Hotel, if you remember that, and that blew to something else where they were paying a lot of money. But I didn't choose that hotel. The government chose it.
So people started
I was taken from the airport directly to the hotel for me to stay there. So
people started saying you are using taxpayers' money.
Exactly, that's correct. Yes, but I was not. I was not privy to any point.
Wasn't it part of your conditions? So when I come back to Zambia, I need to stay in a 5-star hotel.
No, it was not. They were supposed to give me accommodation, but what they did is they took me from the airport when I landed and took me directly to that Fosway Hotel where I stayed. So I had nothing to do, I had no choice. I didn't even know where Fosway Hotel was.
There's a line on the screen. There's a number on the screen. You could actually give us a call wherever you are, wherever you are watching us from. You could be in Zambia or outside. You could give us a call and talk to Professor Clive Chirwa. If you have any question or contribution, please give us that call. And of course, the professor will be right here to have a conversation with you. Professor, what would you say is your legacy at Zambia Railways?
My legacy at Zambia Railways is the blueprint. Because I designed a rail system, I planned it so well to be executed within 3 years. You see, by now we would have had electric trains running from Chirilabombwe to Livingston.
From Chirilabombwe to Livingston?
Exactly, from Chirilabombwe to Livingston. And there were those electric trains. We had now, you know where they put the solar system in Chisamba?
Yes.
That is the area where Zambia Railways was supposed to put its solar system. The president opened that, I was reading on the plane.
Like 2-3 weeks ago.
2-3 weeks ago. That is the area where Zambia Railways was supposed to put its solar system, which will be running the railways electricity and the railways things. So all these blueprints, they followed through, but they did not manage to deliver my blueprint because they didn't know the inside out of how they're going to deliver it.
I've seen a video of you showing us a certain railway. Is it in Spain? Something that charges when it parks to pick people and contribute. Was that one of the trains that you wanted to bring to Zambia?
No, that was not one of the trains I wanted to bring to Zambia Railways. Mm-hmm. That is a train I wanted to bring to Lusaka and Kitwe. That is a commuter train, which is called the tram vehicle.
Tram vehicle?
Yeah, exactly. That's a tram which is used for city city mobility.
How does it work, and how cost effective is it for the government to run and also for the commuters?
Yeah, extremely effective. It uses very substantial less energy in terms of operation, and the mechanics itself is very cheap in terms of other systems which are there, the olden ones, which are the lot of wires and infrastructure. So this one was more conducive for our environment, especially for our environment in Zambia. In the Lusaka, even design, if you remember, I designed in 2015, 2016, I designed the entire metro system in Lusaka and Kitwe. And those trains were supposed to be used for those particular parts. That was a project which was instigated by UNDP. Yeah, and I created that for them, yes.
Do you think us having those electric trains, how feasible is that plan right now for a country like us, the economy at the level we are, and at what cost?
Yeah. Of course, now the cost is much higher than what it used to be when I came in 2012, when I wanted to do the Chililabombwe to Livingstone line on electric. As you can see, other countries have adopted it. The same design of the vehicle, which I did for Zambia Railways.
Yes.
It's all over you can see it on the internet, and it's now implemented because I sold the plan to a Turkish company who implemented it in Dakar, which is Senegal. If today you go to Senegal, you're moving from the airport into the city, you go on that train, which was supposed to be in Zambia. But they bought it. Now, I've also taken part in consultative aspects of the Tanzania electric train. And then it's running in Tanzania. So you can see that it's feasible. We would have been the first to do it in 2013, 2014. These people would have looked at us. But they looked at me, they said, oh, you did this, can you? Now, as I'm sitting with you here, Botswana has actually requested me to design the rail line for them.
So we'll probably come back to you after 20 years.
That's correct.
But you know, what is the biggest problem that we are having, that we can't just work with you properly and see that we're doing some of these things as a first, even for the Zambian people? What do you think is the biggest problem?
I don't know. I don't know what's the biggest problem here. When you look at people who are taking decisions, yeah, perhaps they are scared of me that I'm not a politician, and I will never be a politician. I'm an academic. I'm an engineer. I'm a solution guy providing solutions to the economic development of any nation, and Zambia is one of them. As my country, I want to deliver that. So if they're scared that, oh no, he might be looking to become a president, no, that's nonsense. It's not true. And I've read quite a lot of this. Everybody saying, oh, he wants to go into politics. No. Me, I'm an engineer. I need to solve problems, and I provide engineering solutions which make money for the nations.
Thank you. If it came to a point where you realize that the only way I'll be able to actualize some of these world inventions in the country is for me to run for public office, would you be open for that option?
No, I won't be. Because, I don't know why people think that for somebody to make a contribution, he must be a politician. No. Every single person in Zambia can make a contribution to its development. You can do it outside government, outside politics, and that's what I do. You do not need to become part of the government system in order for you to deliver. And that's a mistake. And especially nowadays, when many of these politicians are just what you call cadres. They are not really, the old politicians like KK, Kaunda, Mwanawasa. These are the two, perhaps, which I respect a lot from the history. I respect them a lot, Mwanawasa and KK, because those people delivered something. The Second Republic destroyed everything which we had, and that is a tragedy.
That's the MMD?
Yes, that is a tragedy. Destroyed everything. But we have to pick ourselves up and make sure that we go back to where we were. But it will be it will be extremely, extremely difficult in modern times because of a lack of resources. So we need to look at how we can utilize our natural resources to create money under value addition.
Okay. You have given kudos to KK, you have given kudos to Mwanawasa, and you said the Second Republic really destroyed the nation. In what aspect did they destroy the nation, and how did successive governments perform? The PF, Undersata, and ECL, as well as the UPND right now.
Yeah. So let me start from KK, for example. Under Kaunda, we had so many industries. We were making everything. We had small industries, but capable of delivering the development and jobs to the Zambian people. What happened when MMD, which, by the way, MMD was created by our friends, the Americans, so that we can actually move away from what we were going according to humanism and so on, and we were punished. We were punished quite a lot by the West. And then they devalued our currency, they did everything, and they undermined ourselves, especially when we were helping South Africa and other countries to become independent. And then from there, it was a one-way street. They came in and destroyed, and they said, okay, in order for us to help you, what we need to do is you, MMD, must actually privatize everything. Privatization was a mistake in this country.
Privatization was a mistake?
It was a mistake. And I'm telling you that it was a mistake. Because what we have done ourselves is not every country what they've done. United States, United Kingdom, China, Russia, all these countries have got what you call integrity and security industry. And that security industry is the industry which makes money for them. Okay? And that is what we sold. The income generation for Zambia was the mines. And all the mines were privatized. And who are the beneficiaries? Not Zambians. The beneficiaries are Canadians, Indian, Chinese now, and other people. And Zambia, what does it get? It gets virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. Because the money which Zambia gets...
Professor, you realize that the current president was part of the privatization process?
Yeah, he may be. He was employed, but he was not the instigator. You have to understand that.
Part of it?
Yeah, he was employed.
So you realize that a statement from you, it was so powerful. A statement like that from you will make him go down as him being one of the biggest mistakes that has ever held the country where it is 60 years after the independence.
No, you shouldn't think it that way. He did not instigate. Remember, he was a technocrat. He was working for somebody who was doing it. You understand? The government took a political decision to privatize the mines. He came in to do a function of a job. So, he cannot go down like that. He was just working. Yeah? So it's not his fault that we privatized everything. That's a thing which people must understand. Him doing a function and him instigating.
They're two different things.
They're two different things. The government instigated that, and it was just working. It's, for example, me. If somebody calls me and says, oh, Professor, we are going to do this particular project. Can you come and help us? I'll go and help them and solve the problem. And that's what the current president was actually doing.
How's the UPND government performed? This is 4 years. I'm sure we are able to gauge so far. How's it performed in terms of even their promises and just getting people out where they found us?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with all the aspects what UPND actually promised. But I'll tell you one thing which I've actually been talking even to a number of UPND activists, is that what we want to do is to bring sanity to the development of this country. And that sanity, sometimes it's seen and sometimes it's not. Where it's not is, for example, in the mining sector. Up to today, I've been saying this for nearly 15 years now. We need to add value to our natural resources. And I'll give you an example of copper, for example. There was a promise that we are going to mine 3 million tons of copper by 2030. That is impossible. Zambia hasn't got that quality of copper to mine 2030 copper ore. No, it has got low-grade copper. And if you want to do that, you dig the entire Zambia. There'll be potholes everywhere, what you call pits everywhere in Zambia in order to reach the 3 million. But look at it in a different form. Me as an engineer and an academic, I look at it in a different form. Why do they want to mine 3 million copper product? It's because they want to generate income. So me, I'll look at it this way. If you want to generate income, then value addition is the way to go about it. For the little copper which you have, you can add value 500 times to what you can get from raw materials.
Professor, from the time I was in school, I hear this conversation. I hear people say our copper is low grade. The only way we can make money of it is value addition.
Yes.
But we keep having this conversation, but no actual value addition is happening. I understand there's some, but like the way you're saying you can do 500 times value addition. No, what is the major problem? We keep having this conversation, but no implementation.
The major problem is that we sold the mines. The mines belong to foreigners, and those who never allow us to industrialize.
They will never allow us to industrialize?
No, they will never allow us to industrialize. And that's why we must take a serious note on this. And I'll tell you, because I've seen it in many countries where I've actually advised governments in industrialization. And this is why, for example, in Burkina Faso, this guy is kicking out the French. It's because they are not allowing them to industrialize.
What is the best we can do right now, especially with the mines?
With the mine now, let me tell you the plan, which I have, and which I've said several times. The plan which I have is ZCCM, which owns 20% of that the mines. Mm-hmm. ZCCM can receive that as copper or gold or whatever, and push it into what? Into industrialization, value addition, to start manufacturing up to end products. They'll create jobs, they'll create everything which they need to have. Getting dividends of the 20% is laughable, because there are no dividends. These guys who have got these mines are very clever in their accounting. So you find that the accounting will always be, at most, not truthful, but at least you can get money from you using your own copper. And this is what I want to tell ZCCM. I want to tell them on this program to say that time has come for you to start creating value addition industry. And that value addition, if you need help, I'll be there to help you. Yeah, I'll prepare the industrialization plan, which I've already done. In fact, if you look at the industrialization plan, which we did as myself as a chairman of that particular committee, which was done by EIZ, which is the Engineering Institute of Zambia, I was invited to actually do that as a chair. We have done the industrialization plan, but we've never implemented it up to now. So we can go back and implement that industrialization plan done by EIZ. And EIZ was very keen to push this so that we make sure that we deliver the development for Zambia.
Before I bring in the public, Professor, do you believe that Zambia's political leadership is capable of allowing an independent, merit-based technocracy to thrive? Why or why not?
First, let's say, why can we do that and so on? Technocrats in Zambia, sometimes they not deliver the goods which are intended to actually deliver. Sometimes they do, and so on. But let's look at it in this particular format. When you have, for example, a development in mining. Let's pick mining because it's the most common. Everybody knows and listens and they know about mining and so on and so forth. You look at mining and how we can develop those mines. The value addition is the only key which you can go through it in order to get the money out of it. Then if you look at the aspect of how that money is being generated, and that's where you see that the money is generated not on our side, not on our behalf, but it's generated on the investor's behalf. there are a lot of things we can do with that investment. Remember that. As engineer and personally as I'm an entrepreneur, I've done things with that money. And Zambia can do things with that money. They can do very big things with very little money which we have. Very little money. To start an industrialization plan, to implement that industrialization plan which we did with the Engineering Institute of Zambia, you can see that that requires quite substantial amount of money and very little money at the same time. So it's there. We need to move on. We need to make sure that we start implementing. We need to make sure that we start generating. And this is where the GEGA Constitution Office comes in, the one I was telling you. So that it can be there in the office of the president and telling the president that, yes, we need to do this. This is where the science is taking us, and this is where the technology is taking us, and this is how we're going to create money for our country.
Have you ever been personally frustrated to the point of wanting to give up on Zambia due to entrenched culture of mediocrity and corruption?
Yes, many times.
Give me 2-3 instances.
When I came in 2013, especially when the PF government came on, it became totally a lot of mediocrity. A lot of people who were in positions, they were not doing what they're supposed to do, and so on. And then on many occasions, I said, no, come on, I'm tired of Zambia. I know it's my country, but everything which you propose, nothing is being done. And everything which they propose, they've done it to not fulfill the nation ability and so on. So it's very frustrating sometimes, especially the railway system which I wanted to, the tram system which I wanted to put in, the energy system which I wanted to, the Kariba Dam system which we wanted to put in. All these are what I'm talking about. All these are frustrations which have risen through many of undone products.
Professor, producer says that we have a phone call, or we have phone calls waiting. Let's see if we can bring in the public.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Hi there, good morning.
Morning, friends. How are you, sir?
Great, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Mpenega Suyundu, calling you from Livingston.
You said your name is who?
Mpenega Suyundu.
Mpene.
Mpenega.
Okay, Mpenega. You may go on, please. Professor is listening to you. Please go on. Please go on.
Yes, I am actually watching him as I'm talking to you now.
Okay, yes, I'm saying that you may go on and talk to Professor. And if you can, please switch off your Facebook. I'm getting some feedback.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm curious to understand the reasoning behind seeking to impress the Chinese were openly criticizing engineers produced by the University of CBU, actually, or UNSA. Could this stance perhaps be influenced by one's own identity or underlying biases?
Professor, are you getting what?
Yes, yeah, I've understood this question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there another? Is that all?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Make sure when you do call us, reduce the volume on your Facebook, or if you're watching us on YouTube, reduce the volume because you'll be giving us feedback. It'll be hard for us to have a conversation with you if I'll be able to listen to you and also listen to two voices at the same time. Hi there, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Great, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mark, just calling from Lusaka.
Mark, please go ahead and talk to Professor.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, Mark.
Yes, from what I've gathered, from what you've talked about, as a country, we are zero in terms of infrastructure and engineering. From what I would like to find out from you, what should be the first step we should make to start developing in terms of infrastructure and engineering? The first step we should take as a country to be on that road to success.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Can I answer?
Yeah. So, hold on. Let's just let the Professor pick up on these two, and we can proceed. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much for those two questions. I'll answer the first one first, where he said that our engineers are being criticized and are being criticized by the Chinese that we are not good enough to deliver some of the development which is supposed to be done in this country. Yeah. As I said earlier on, that we have a system at university which is bringing out ordinary engineers. So many of the things which ordinary engineers can do is maintenance engineering. We are not teaching them to the level where they must be the people creating those innovations which we need to actually spearhead our country to go forward.
What's your thought, Professor?
Yes.
So all along since independence, the engineers we've been producing are people that are only able to do maintenance engineering.
In fact, the ordinary degree, that's what it gives you. That's what it gives you. That's what it gives you. It does not give you the incentive to design and produce your own innovations.
And we've had this ordinary degree for how long in the country?
Oh, since UNZA was created.
But why would a country do that to themselves? Why would you want to just be able to create engineers that are just able to service than create?
That was the key. You remember we were talking about the Gega?
Yes.
You see, what the British did was to give us a certain particular curriculum and to give us a college certification in order for them to maintain the superiority on our dealings.
Such people can only go up to management
yes,
level.
that's right. And then from there, all the decisions were being made in the United Kingdom.
We'll come back to the other question.
Yes.
Producer says there's a caller.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pick up. Hi there. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Mr. Monga from Lusaka.
Mr. Monga, you may go on and talk to our professor. Is listening.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, maybe if the professor maybe can address my observation, maybe if they have tackled it. For example, politicians and those people that are employed under the ministers and engineers that are inclined with the politicians based on different words. They always go with the political philosophy. And the engineers that come independent like him, Professor Chirwa, you come with the engineering philosophy, and as a result, their philosophy, they would want to do it just to make a name that they have done this and this, regardless of the quality. But the engineer doesn't go to say, no, I've done that work. But they look at the quality, and that's why there is a clash of interest, even the things that need to be procured. So maybe if the professor would look at how they can agree together now from the engineering and into the political system, how do they in line? Because even the current government, if it was to engage them, there would be political crashes still. So it's not that there is maybe one political that is difficult, but it's a system in the political world that crashes with the engineering world. And that's the reason why the African countries are behind. We have engineers in Africa, like Professor Chirwa is there. But look at what the great work is doing with other countries. Because their philosophy, it matches with engineering philosophy. But here is a political. So I don't know how that one can be addressed. And once it's addressed, you manage to go through and do everything that is needed. And it's not that we don't have the money. We have all the resources and the money, but it's the will and the philosophies that crash.
Thank you, Mr. Monga.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe you can respond to him and the other caller also.
Yes, yeah. So I'll respond to him. Let me respond to the other caller who actually I've forgotten a little bit of what he asked. He asked about the management. I think I would depart to write down.
Anyway, it's fine. Maybe we can just respond to him.
So I think even the last question is related to that. Yes, it's the same thing which is related to that. You see, the technocrats, and this is the thing which perhaps I get a little bit annoyed with the technocrats in government. What has happened in the past, for example, after the second, what you call the second administration, is that we have now politicized the civil service. And the civil service is supposed to be independent. But what we have done is, I cannot understand why the president is appointing PSs. It's not his job to appoint PSs. The PSs must be appointed by the Secretary of the Cabinet, because everybody under there is supposed to be there. And these people, the PS, must be from the roots. These are the people who have worked in government, running the government institutions for over 10, 15, 20 years. You cannot just be picked from somewhere else and be brought in to become a PS. This is unacceptable. And this has happened for every administration, not only this one, for every administration which has come along. And this has been politicized, as he said. And it's true, I agree with him entirely. It has been politicized.
Does the president appointing maybe his loyalists as PSs, does it help to keep us where we are in terms of failing to move further in terms of development?
Yeah, it actually draws us back. Why we need to put the PSs there? There must be meritocracy. You don't just put somebody. I've seen a lot of people who are PSs who come from different regions. It's not their field, but they are sitting there actually advising. Of course, you can appoint. But what I'm trying to say here is they've politicized the entire civil service, and it's no longer independent. The civil service must be independent to the nation and answerable to the nation, rather than answerable to a president. And this is what has happened over the different administrations which has come along.
Producer says there's a caller. Hi there.
Okay.
Hello, good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is John Banda. I'm calling from Kitwe.
John Banda, you may go on and talk to Professor Clive Chirwa.
Good morning, Professor Chirwa.
Oh, good morning, Klaus. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. It's really lovely and wonderful to have you online and presenting such a wonderful program for our nation. But probably before I ask a question, it's just a plea or an advice, is that don't give up hope on us. We still need that vibrance in our country. It pains to see you develop Turkey, to develop Botswana or any other nation and leave us behind because of political policies that are always hindering progress. Politicians will always be there and they shall always put up resistance to any good idea. So please do not give up hope. I was thrilled to listen to the plans that we had for Zambia Railways, and I had an opportunity to speak to one of your former employees at Zambia Railways. She's my former work in some other places. She explained how great you were, and I was trying to do the compare with what the then leadership was saying and the things of the same place where you are staying were brought up. She gave me a different version. But anyway, in the process, you left and disappeared, and it's nice that you're back. My question, after hearing you, the program, and the idea that you had for Lusaka Kitwe and Chirirabombwe to Livingstone, have you tried on the current government, and I still suspect you have the phone number for the president. You don't have to go through a minister because it won't work. You won't go through the Minister of City Mines or Commerce or Minister of Health. It won't work out. No one will give you that attention. So my question is, have you tried to contact the head of state to revisit those developmental plans that you have for both ZCCM and the mining industry, and together with the railway program that you have?
Let us conclude.
I have.
Thank you, sir. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much indeed for that question. Yes, I do have the president's telephone number, and the president also has my telephone number. It has never changed since I first met him in 2008. Of course, if you remember in those particular days, I brought, because I wanted to make sure that Zambia moves forward, and I brought the different aspects of politicians together in order to create a unity and develop some of the solutions which were required to develop Zambia. And of course, UPND at that particular time and the PF at that particular time, I brought them together into unity. And from there, of course, things went very well indeed. So what I'm trying now to look at this particular moment in time, how we can help. We can help our nation. Our nation requires us. It requires us, especially, it has become now desperate to require our services in order to make sure that we develop our country. If you look at where we are sitting, I know Zambians think that they own this economy, the Zambian economy. No, Zambia does not own the Zambian economy. In fact, when I look around, I can tell you who owns the Zambian economy. The South Africans. This is their outback market. Their budget takes into account Zambia as a market. And as you see, many of the things which are happening in Zambia, malls being built. Did they build industries here? No. They come and build malls, and because what they want to do, they manufacture the goods in South Africa and they come to offload those goods in Zambia. So we must really start understanding the mechanics of how economies work. You find that Zambia, even we go today, we hear that, okay, the kwacha has appreciated. No, that's a lie. The Zambia has not appreciated. The dollar has dropped up to 20% in the last 6 months. So all the major currencies, all the major currencies around the world have actually had this particular appreciation because of the dropping of the dollar.
So it's not the kwacha appreciating?
No, it's not the kwacha appreciating. It's the dollar which has depreciated by 20% since actually Trump came along. So we have to look at that and see how we can do it. We need to start making our own money. We should not be running to investors. We don't need investors in this country. What we need to do is exactly what this gentleman was talking about, is to start working for ourselves, making money for ourselves. We can do that pretty easily.
Producer says there's a caller. Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Very fine, thank you. Your name and where you calling us from?
My name is Mwansa Musonda. I am a final year aeronautical engineering student at the Copperbelt University.
Mwansa Musonda, you have 2 minutes. Please talk to Professor.
All right, no, thank you so much. So firstly, I want to say kudos to you. You're asking very great questions. It's been a great conversation. So just a question for the professor. Looking back at your journey, Professor, I know you are a learned man and we've talked about the country's development and everything that comes with it. But I believe personally, before we can talk about the nation's development, we have to talk about the mindset of each individual Zambian. So looking back on your journey, what mindset or habit has had the biggest impact on your growth when it comes to you as an individual, not as an engineer? Because the root problem or for you to chop down a tree fully, you have to get it out from the roots. And I think the roots become the mindset and the habit that each Zambian individual has. So for you, Professor, what's the mindset you've had and the habit that you've had to, embrace so that you are able to reach the levels at which you are operating at? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mwansa. Let's
thank you,
would you like me to pick 2 more calls or we can respond to Mwansa?
Can I respond?
Oh, please.
Mwansa, thank you very much indeed. And I'm really pleased that you are pursuing aeronautical engineering, the curriculum which I wrote when I was actually at CBU. So it's a very good, that's an honors degree, and it's above the UNZA and the other degrees which are given in the country. So I'm pleased for that. And let me tell you how I moved to where I am today. I'll give you just a brief because we don't have enough time. First of all, the mindset to deliver. I always tell people that put the hurdles, not small ones, but you have to deliver on a big steps. So your thinking always must be there to do something for the community. That's the key. Not for yourself. Yourself will be a reward which comes later on. Okay? That's when it actually pays you. But when you are doing something which is going to make sure that the community moves forward and everybody else, the nation develops and gets the money or the revenue which it requires in order to run the hospitals, the schools, the infrastructure and so on, then you have actually made a contribution. And that's the mindset which I come up with. Money comes as you, not you searching for money, but money come with you when you are doing something good for the community and for the nation.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Hi there, good morning. Hello? Okay, so there's a number on the screen. You could actually use it. And by the way, you could actually go to our YouTube channel. It's called Shosta's House. You could give us a subscription so that you can be getting the updates as we go. You could also subscribe on our Facebook page. Professor, Zambia has seen a number of infrastructural projects, roads, airports, malls, but very little heavy manufacturing. Are we investing in wrong priorities?
Yes, we are. In other words, now I remember the question which you talk about the engineers on this.
Just what I thought. There's a caller. This gentleman has added a caller. Hi there. Good morning.
Hello. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Oh, I'm Chanda calling from Northern Province, actually.
From where?
Northern Province.
Northern Province. Okay. Please go ahead and talk to Professor Clive Chirwa.
Yes, good morning, Professor.
Oh, good morning, Chan. How are you? How is the Northern Province?
Oh, Northern Province is okay, Professor. Thank you.
Okay, excellent.
I just wanted to get some clarity. There is a caller who mentioned of a will and a philosophy of the different, maybe political players that come into maybe to government or something. I remember very well, maybe some time back when we had that process of national service where most of the youths were taken to go and learn skills. And these other, especially those engineering skills, building and infrastructure, because the national service are the ones that were even building many bridges. Now, during the current system, why can't that process be brought back maybe in an advanced manner such that maybe technology is involved there? So that maybe the process of industrialization can be initiated through that process so that whichever government comes in, it follows that. Because these other countries that we even helped to, maybe to liberalize, etc., these other neighboring countries, these have most of them they continue that process because they copied that from us, and that's why maybe they're even doing better than us. Why can't they bring that on board side? Maybe they produce engineers to undertake certain things such as building of bridges, dams, even maybe electric trains, like you are mentioning it. Maybe try to incorporate that in the system using our own local resources. Why can't that happen? I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So maybe we can answer this one.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, you've really hammered the nail on its head. This is exactly what we have been talking about. The political will in any administration, not only this administration, all the administrations which have been before that, all of them have tried to solve problems politically and running towards investment. That means bringing people from outside to invest into this country, and at the same time borrowing money. But we have forgotten that it's not everything requires money to be borrowed. You can create something with your own little money which you have. And that's what we have been talking about. Industrialization in this country is key. And we must move on now to try to make sure that we start looking at how we can add value to anything which we have. Even agriculture. We've got a lot of product which is just rotting around. I went to Chama, so rice there is in the sacks and rotting. We can actually add value to that rice. We can do a lot of things in those particular aspects. But the most important, perhaps, which we must look in terms of infrastructure, as he was talking about, is that Zambia has no standards, and that I've been calling this for quite some time. I even went to see the PS of infrastructure to actually tell them that we must start looking at how we can create standards in order to make sure that all our roads are perfect according to the standards of Zambia. Because we are trying to use standards which are designed somewhere else, and then from there they fail here because we haven't done the scientific research on our own soil, on our own to determine the material constants which are needed in order to maintain our roads. That's why they fail. They fail very quickly. Today they are designed and tomorrow they fail because we have never had a standard. So Zambia must create, that's the first thing. That's a fundamental thing, to create the standards for bridges and roads.
Is it possible to run a government without borrowing money from?
No, it's not possible to run a government without borrowing money. But we borrow money not for consumption, we borrow money for investment.
I hear you. Producer says there's a caller. Hi there, good morning. Hello. Professor, I want to ask about a question whether we're investing in wrong priorities, looking how we have done roads, airports, malls, but very little manufacturing.
Yeah. Yes, manufacturing is key. Manufacturing is key, and we have given it on the back burner. It should be the priority. It should be the priority for any nation to develop. We must start manufacturing, and that manufacturing must be to our benefit. For example, if we know that we need to manufacture a tractor, for example, we manufacture those tractors and distribute them around the country so they can work fully to actually give us the benefits which we are looking for. Yeah.
Producer, you call us too? Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, presenter. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. I'd like to know your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Clifford. I'm calling within Lusaka.
Mr. Clifford, you may talk to Professor Clive Chirwa. He's listening.
Yes, good morning, Professor Chirwa.
Oh, good morning, Clifford. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you.
Really, we appreciate your coming in and we appreciate what you are doing. But I have a question. I remember, is it 2013 or somewhere there, when President Mike Osata called you to help him, and then there are issues that came around where it was alleged that your demands was beyond what the country can give you, because you are going up to 400,000 kwacha, something like that. There was that allegation. So I wanted you to clear on that one, because that's one issue actually that gave us hell. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for asking for that question. And that's a lie. It's not true. I did not actually claim to have 400,000 whatever a month. No, that's ridiculous. I was given a certain particular salary according to government institutions, and that's the salary which I was given, which far much below, at about 100 and something, which was far much below than the PS. So that's everybody has been instigating this, pushing this narrative that I requested for a lot of money. No, I did not.
Okay, producer. Hi there. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Mike. I'm calling from within Lusaka.
Mike, you may go on and talk to Professor.
Professor, good morning, and how are you?
Oh, good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Very good program there. I'm enjoying the station. Yeah. I believe you are a valuable asset to our nation, Professor. And I think over the years, I've observed something different from how we've been having our buildings done. So over the years, if you look at for example, I'll give you two, the University of Zambia and the University Teaching Hospital. These are two structures that have lasted for a long period of time. But if you look at buildings that are being constructed now, there's a discrepancy on the wear and tear. I think I would like to understand what's really the difference on how we are doing it back then and how they are doing it now, because the investment looks like you put in money over a period of 2 to 3 years, we see a breakdown or maintenance required. The building that was constructed for maybe 2 years ago, as an example. That's the first question. And the other thing, Professor, is how do we then get back to the drawing board as a country and say, okay, this is where we are. We are here now. These are the problems we are facing in that sphere. How do we create a roadmap to look forward and start things on a better note and build from there to say, okay, in the next 10 years, we should be able to catch up with other countries that are ahead of us. I think something like that. I would like to have an understanding of how we are looking at that, looking forward, and Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Yes, that's a brilliant narrative which the gentleman has actually stated there. What we need to have is to go to the fundamental now, because we have lost everything. After Kaunda period, when we privatized everything, we lost everything. We did not only lose the industries, but we lost the expertise and the experience. Many of those people who were in these industries moved and went abroad. Went out to work abroad, where they were given opportunities to actually run those same industries which we had lost. So to start again, what we need to do is we need to have a blueprint. And that blueprint must come from industrialization. And that's the key. Because within that industrialization, it will be divided into different platforms, which will have a platform for infrastructure, platform for value addition, platform for, and all these will be tied together through what we call a business model. Because Zambia at this particular moment has got a wrong business model. The business model of mining and selling raw materials. We must change that narrative and change the business model to whereby we have to take those raw materials and create value addition to them.
Is there a way of stopping to send out raw materials and maybe selling them to government somehow? I don't know.
Yeah, there is. In fact, that's a mapping which I wanted to tell you. I presented a paper about 2 to 3 years ago here at Mulungushi, where I stated that we need to develop a new business model for Zambia. And the new business model for Zambia is that copper will be mined by the foreign companies, then it will go into the warehouse which belongs to the government of Zambia, and that government of Zambia will sell that particular copper, and the money will come back not to Switzerland or to United Kingdom or to United States, but the money which paid for that copper will come to Bank of Zambia. And when it comes to Bank of Zambia, then Bank of Zambia will pay the mining companies who are mining that. Very simple business model.
So the money stays in the Bank of Zambia?
Exactly. The money remains in Zambia.
And what does that do to our currency?
Yeah, it augments the currency tremendously. Our currency will become powerful when we do that. It will become very powerful.
So you do the mining as an investor, give us all the copper, all of it?
Yeah, all of it.
We'll sell it on your behalf?
We'll sell it on your behalf.
And pay you?
And pay you for the job you have done. Then you won't have what we call, because at the moment, you know what happens at the moment? If you go to ZRA and look at the refunds they are creating on VAT, you can cry. You can cry. All this money just being taken away without us Zambians enjoying that particular money. You can cry. If you go to ZRA, you find that we are still paying the mining industry and other people VAT returns. We shouldn't, because these people are cheating. What they do is they bring an equipment either from another company which they own, it comes and works here. Once it does the work, they take it out, then they bring it again, they get another from the same equipment. There will be just rotational of that thing. Okay? So you have to be very careful how these industries work. I know them because I've participated in many of these things to solve these particular problems in many of the countries which I've gone to. So you have to be very careful the way you look at it. We have a lot of money, and we are wasting that money by giving it away to other people rather than taking it into our hospital, schools, and the community.
Thank you, Professor. Do you believe it is still possible to develop a car manufacturing plant or a major engineering hub in Zambia? Or has that opportunity passed?
No, it hasn't passed at all. In fact, the more we talk about it, the more we have to invigorate this particular part of narrative. I know that in Zambia we can do anything which other countries do. There's nothing which Zambia cannot do. The only thing which we need is goodwill. Goodwill and being faithful and truthful to yourselves, so that you want to develop your country. You don't want to develop yourself in the pocket first, but you develop the country first, then the pocket will come.
Wonderful. Hi there, good morning. Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Good morning. You're live on the podcast. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Thank you so much. Good morning, Professor.
Hey, good morning. I didn't catch your name.
What's your name, sir?
Nathan Zulu, Professor.
Okay.
Your union president at one time at Zambia Railways.
Yes.
Where are you calling us from, sir?
I'm calling you from Livingstone.
Okay. You may go on, please.
Professor, good morning once more.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Zulu. I remember you.
Yeah, we journeyed together on the Zambia Railways story.
Yes.
Now, coming back to Zambia Railways and where we are today, and if you were asked to come back and implement your program that you had started at Zambia Railways, what would be your answer? And looking at the transport sector in Zambia Railways in particular, what blueprint can you put in place that can make Zambia Railways go back to the days that we all remember as a transport hub for Central Africa and transporting the goods? What would be your say? What blueprint can we put in place to revitalize Zambia Railways and bring it back to the heydays that we all remember about? Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Professor, just before you answer that phone, there's a caller that I think this one is calling from the United States.
Yes.
Hi there, good morning.
Sure, Dr. Kasonso here.
Come again?
Dr. Kasonso here.
Okay, Dr. Kasonso, thank you. Are you able to switch off? I don't know if you're listening to us by Facebook or YouTube. Are you able to switch off?
Okay.
We can get some feedback. This is good now. This is good. You Dr. Kasonso, a long time. You please go ahead and talk to Professor. You're calling us from the States, right?
Of course, this has been my home for 20 years, so I'll be calling you from my home.
Thank you. You may go on and talk to Professor Clive Chirwa right now.
Professor, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Dr. Kasonso. How are you doing? How is the States?
The States are fabulous. You
Okay.
are my hero.
Oh, thank you.
Because we always quote you an example why you cannot go back to Zambia. They poorly treated you. But I'm happy with your resilience that at this point you are able to come to the country and show that there's a right way to do something. So you remain my hero, Daddy. You are my hero. Yeah, so but what I wanted to say about Zambia, all the time we try to front abatu to kuntanji. Bala panic abantu. They punish people for even things they haven't done. I have heard you navigate through the difficulties of corporate management in Zambia and how they did work out with you. We were watching all of that and we were reading it. And many of us in your class, we are very afraid of working with our local Zambians because if we were diaspora, yeah, so but what I wanted to comment on is on your projects. I wanted to comment on your projects and say this. If there is not goodwill from government, things cannot work in Zambia. So unless the government can show us goodwill. And also I wanted to disagree with one of your notions that somebody ought to be the advisor to the president on these issues and they can turn things right. No, we don't need that model. What we need are teams of work groups in each field. In that way, if we are dealing with a field of engineers or a field of other groups, we have to have a field of the best talent of Zambia, and they're the ones who are governing. The president ought to govern the country through his group of advisors. But the president abatukwete konse kufuitika kwa batonga. What we need are work groups in every field. Ku energy, kuba mines, ku electricity, ku administration, kushane.
Dr. Kasonso, I want to just
talents.
Dr. Kasonso, just before this goes very far, I would like to, on behalf of the president, I think that in as much as you can say there are a lot of Tonga people employed, there are still other people from other tribes that are holding powerful positions, even just within State House. So that shouldn't be the conversation. I just wanted to put it out there.
Please understand what I'm saying. I am not against the Tonga people. Those Tonga people are my relatives. Some of them are in my family. Some of my family are Tongas. What I'm trying to say is, what we need are work groups in each and every specific field. We have to have the work groups comprising the best talent of the country, whether at home or abroad. Energy, do we have the work group? The work group are the ones who are supposed to conduct studies and create programs. And then those are the programs that they are supposed to take to the president. The president is supposed to govern through his advisors. We prize ourselves as a Christian nation, but do you know how the ancient kingdoms were done?
I would like us to conclude, Dr. Kasonso, because of time.
Do you know why Daniel was taken to Babylon? No, we need to have work groups in every field of the best talent of Zambia, and they bring the best program to the president. The president governs the country.
Let us be concluding, Dr. Kasonso. Let us be concluding.
Okay, let me conclude. What I'm just saying is, we don't have in Zambia the work groups through which the president can govern. We need to have work groups through which the president can govern, and those work groups need to comprise the best talent of Zambia, whether at home or abroad. We are wasting Professor Chirwa's talent, and even when you talk to me, I feel like you're wasting my talent, and even other people will see their talent, and we cannot do that. Monfo Bashosta. That's what I'm trying to contribute. And I want the good professor to comment on that, because I don't think we need an individual or specific individual who should be the advisor of the president. No, the president needs to have work groups of experts.
Okay,
those advisors that
I think that you've already you're repeating. Dr. Kasonso, thank you.
Equal our skills.
Thank you, Dr. Kasonso. I'm going to have to cut Dr. Kasonso. He's repeating the things that he's already mentioned, and we appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just answer, Dr. Kasonso. He hasn't understood the structure which I'm talking about. Let me explain to him exactly what we need to have. In the United States, where he is, there is a scientific advisor to the president, who is sitting as an advisor to the president and Trump, because I participated in many of the meetings with these advisors. So I know exactly what it is. So we need a person who's going to advise the president on in matters of technology and science. We need that person to be there at State House.
So are you saying each sector should produce a person that should...
No. This is one person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's there at State House to deliver that. Then under him is what we call ministerial advisors. Those ministerial brothers, they are bringing information from every ministry to actually feed into him for him to deliver to the president directly. Because at the moment what happens, the ministry bring a certain particular information, the minister goes and presents it. He presents it wrongly because he does not understand the philosophy of every science. Exactly. No, they are not. So this is why I'm saying that all those groups he's talking about, they are there in the ministries. What we need to do is for them to have a roadmap where they can deliver through a person who's constitutionally offered that particular position to the government. Every country has got it. United States, where he is, has got it. United Kingdom has got it. France has got it. Germany has got it. China has got it. Russia has got it. Or you mentioned every single one of them. They have this particular person directly advising the president because they are the main income generators for the nation.
We'll pick two calls as we go. Hi there. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Are you able to switch off?
Hello.
Are you able to switch off the program on the or reduce the volume because I can hear you?
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yes.
What's your name, sir?
Yes.
Come again? Come again?
I'm saying this is Muhammad calling you from Solwezi.
Muhammad Solwezi. You may go on and talk to the professor, please.
Yes. Is the professor able to hear me?
He can hear you.
I can hear you. Muhammad, I can hear you very well. How is Solwezi?
Thank you so much, Shosta, for having to grant me this privilege, and thank you so much, Professor, for granting us this opportunity to talk to you.
Yes.
I'm very delighted that I've managed to get through. Firstly, Professor, mine is a clarion call, and also a plea to you that I think for me, you have stayed long, Professor, away from home. And the period that you've stayed, I think you've done great work. And for me, I think the time that has remained is for you, Professor, to bring it back home so that we can develop. Like the saying goes, that if you can't develop your home, obviously no one will do that. So I think, Prof, tapping into what you've done, the work that you've done world over, I think would appreciate that that work is replicated here. But I understand, like you said, political, the spectrum always has these deficiencies when it comes to people that have the talent and wanting to work with them. I think there is a way we can navigate through and to be able to get to a win-win situation. Yeah. After all, this country is not for the politician. It's for you and me. For you and me, before they became politicians, whoever they are, the fact is the number one identity is they are Zambian. And for you to be called Zambian, I think the aim is for you to improve this nation in any way. So diving straight into my plea, Prof, that we need, number one, I think, to end the exportation of jobs, like you earlier alluded to, like the coppers that we are sending a lot of raw materials, and you rightly put it, that we are sending jobs. And I think for me, it pains me, because neither are we just sending the copper, we're sending gold, we're sending a lot of minerals.
Are we able to conclude? Are we able to conclude?
Thank you so much, Shosta. Let me conclude quickly. So for me, I think, why can't we put a company here, these companies that should be able to process these things so that we don't export jobs, we retain our resources here. Thank you so much, Prof. And thank you so much, Shosta, for granting me this opportunity.
Thank you. Have yourself a wonderful day. You may respond this.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for that elaborate explanation of exactly what we need to do. I agree with you. Despite that I've been overseas, I've always worked with Zambia quite a lot, especially in terms of through my institution, which is called the Engineering Institution of Zambia. I've always put ideas, I've always put things which needs to be done, and if something is wrong, I'll go forcefully and emphasize that this is wrong, shouldn't be carried out, and so on. Yeah, but when it comes to making us become industrialized, as you said, we stop sending copper. We first of all have to look at the fundamentals. You know what sometimes pains me? I know there's a company which has come to Zambia called Cobalt. Now, Cobalt has claimed that they use AI to discover the copper reserves in the area around Chilawombwe, somewhere there. But that's not true. ZCCM, in 1970s, 1960s, we knew about those reserves. So they did not come today to come and discover them. ZCCM was sitting on it, on the party. You go into ZCCM files, you'll find that all those which claims which Cobalt has made using AI to discover these copper reserves were done by them. No, they were there many years before they even came on board. So those are the things I'm talking about. We have given them this opportunity to come and mine things which we ourselves own. And to do that, they will take it away to United States or wherever they want to go to. But what we need to do ourselves is to say that how can we add value to our own materials? And I'm looking forward to actually get this narrative and be given an opportunity to actually do the implementation. And I'm ready for that.
Before we close, Professor, I've seen you design vehicles. At what level, at what point can we get a chance to have a vehicle with your name on it?
Yeah, actually, I've designed many vehicles. It's not only the vehicles which are on, but if you look at every vehicle in Zambia, it has got my patent in it. Every single one of them. What it has is what we call crash capability. The crash capability is an invention which I created in 1990s to actually give an opportunity to protect occupants within the vehicle itself. I was at one time for 10 years as the advisor to the EU Commissioner for Transport when United Kingdom was in the EU. And during that particular time, I wrote the entire documentation to make sure that everybody wears seatbelts, the ones sitting in front and those sitting at the back of the vehicle. And that is standard today. So everybody wears that. Even
before you did that, that was not standard?
No, it wasn't standard. It was it was something which you have yourself to do it rather than a legal aspect. So it became standard to do that. And the whole world followed suit to actually have that. I've designed aeroplanes. The 380 Airbus has got many of my products in there. My product have gone to the moon. My product, the landing gear on the rover, which landed on Mars some time ago, has got some of my product in there. You look at the Mercedes-Benz, which is driven here, has got product. And we look at BMW, you look at Toyota, the entire Toyota. And in fact, when my brother died, I was coming from the Toyota. I'm designing a new Toyota system. And all these vehicles have actually participated. And many of them cannot perform without my design.
I'd like to drive a Toyota Chirwa. Any possibility?
You have already. There's Oviv. Oviv is here, is in Zambia. People are driving it. And in fact, I wanted to bring it here.
That's a complete design?
Yeah, that's a complete design. And the vehicle is running. It's here in Zambia. In fact, I wanted to show you, I wanted to bring it here to the studio so you can have a look. No, it's there. It's running in Zambia.
Oviv is your company?
Oviv is my brand. Yes, it's my company and it is my brand.
Wonderful. When your story is told and everything, how would you want people to remember you by? A genius betrayed by the system or a patriot who fought against impossible odds?
Perhaps none of those. They should remember me as a Mafken, from a boy from Mufulira who came from a mining town and conquered the world.
Wonderful. Is there, do you have a caller? Okay. Is there anything you would like to say as we come to a close to the Zambian people that have already shown you support?
Yeah. No, I mean, even those who haven't shown me support, I mean, I talk to the Zambian people. And what I want to actually clarify, perhaps in conclusion of this particular meeting, is that this is a great country. This is a very great country with extremely intelligent people. Extremely intelligent people. If you look at everything which we do, or those people who are in the diaspora, they moved away because of the different political systems which have come along, and so on. And they've been frustrated in their contributions, and this is how they actually contribute somewhere else. If, for example, we had a unity of government who are run by the secretary to the cabinet, then the civil service, then we'll be able, all of us, to contribute to any government which come along. But at this particular moment in time, our constitution does not allow us to do that. So every time any president comes in, has got to appoint new people. So you are always breaking. You are always going backward rather than going forward. Instead of the people who have been in the system who can actually control things clearly, continue. Continuity is the key here. But we have to go back. But what I want to tell the Zambian people is that we need to start implementing the things which we do, the value addition, because nobody who actually gives you money from those investors who are coming to Zambia. All of them, if I come to invest in a country to get money out of that country, I don't come to invest to develop you. No, it's impossible. It has never happened in the world and it will never happen in the future. Investors are money grabbers. They are people, they are there to actually suck everything out of you and leave you dry. And that's where we are now. We are borrowing. Why are we borrowing money? I mean, we are running around the world borrowing 18 billion. Come on. Zambia is worth more than that. We can create 18 billion in 2 days if we had value addition to our natural resources.
Okay.
We'll create that money. Why are we running about? We've been running around for how many years now? 3-4 years, running around searching for, we want to do this, we want to do that in order to restructure. Why are you restructuring? Again, this is debt upon debt. You are borrowing to service debt. It's impossible. A nation cannot do that. You have to borrow money to invest in order to make sure that you create the jobs for the Zambian people. And to do that, you have to be serious in what you're doing. You have to be serious if you give a job to a person who is experienced and he has got expertise, let him do the job. Don't interfere in doing that particular job like I did for me at Zambia Railways. They interfered too much in that particular case, and we couldn't move forward. But that blueprint is still around, and I want any other person who's coming in the future, or the young people who are coming in the future, to actually be vigilant, to say, you are here to save the community, you are here to save the nation, and it's a nation which is going to give you the opportunity to actually generate that particular income and become a millionaire. Every single Zambian, when you look on paper, they should be millionaires. Every single one of them. The things which we have today in Zambia, every single Zambian, the 22 million, whatever we have, should be millionaires in whatever dollars or pound. But where are we? We've got very few millionaires. But what we have is poverty. And to eradicate that poverty, the Gega office must be done. And it must be done quickly. It must be done quickly. We need the Government Engineer General Office, which is a constitutional office, to actually deliver that particular part. China moved out of poverty because of that office.
Really?
India moves out of office because of that office. Singapore moved out of poverty because of that office. Every single one, Vietnam is the latest one, who's moving out of that because of that office. So when we are talking about this, we're not talking from without. Other people have done it, and they've done it to move quickly out of that. We, at this particular moment in time, we are not advising the president of how we can create income. We are advising the president how we can borrow, how we can bring an investor. But that's not true. That's not a way to think. You must always think of exactly how you're going to develop your country. And to develop your country, you must make sure that you understand how money is generated. Engineers will generate that money. Thank you.
Professor, I'd like to thank you so much for all the wisdom you've shared and all the solutions, the possible solutions that you've shared for the country. I know that they might not work, some of them might not work today, but there are a lot of people that have heard and they've taken note. You may be seeing some of these things, take root as we go on. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much indeed for having me. It's a pleasure always to come back home and really contribute to ideas so that we become a well developed country who has got a lot of money in terms and feed and eradicate poverty altogether for the money which we have. Thank you very much indeed for having me.
Wonderful. We've been on the show with Professor Clive Chirwa, and of course you have heard from the time we started, we have learned so much, all of us, I have learned so much, and I hope we can begin to implement some of the things that are working across the world. He is teaching in many universities across the world, not just in the UK, and of course I hope we can implement some of the things that he has mentioned. Until next time, this has been Shosta's House.